Mrs. Claus here. So nice to be with you again today. I hope everybody's doing well. I know Santa and I are doing pretty good, and the elves, they're behaving for the most part. But you know, elves like to chatter. They like to talk. And sometimes they talk so much, they talk themselves into situations that, prove rather difficult. There is a story that I can tell you in regards to that. It takes place a long time ago when there were kings and queens and castles and horses and woods. And one day, a hunter happened to be walking along a trail near a village with a big castle and a king. And he's walking along this trail, and suddenly he stumbles upon a skull in the middle of a trail, and he just exclaimed to himself, "What are you doing here in the middle of a trail? How did you get here? This is crazy." And suddenly, the skull started talking. I talked. That's how I got here. It's very, very easy to talk. You just open your mouth and the words spill out. But mind you, talking will land you here too if you don't keep your mouth shut. Well, the hunter was just taken aback. And he decided he needed to tell the world that there was a talking skull on the trail. This was amazing. So he turned around and he went back to the village and he started telling everybody he knew, I just ran into a talking skull. It was amazing. I had a conversation with a skull. You should have seen it. It was incredible. The skull talked. And pretty soon the whole village knew that this hunter had talked to a talking skull. And then the king found out about it, and he summoned the hunter to his castle, to his court. And the hunter came in, and the king asked him, "So, I hear you had a conversation with a talking skull." "Oh, yes, your majesty, yes. It was quite amazing. It's really true. The skull talked. I would swear my life on it." "Well, in that case, hunter, take me to see this skull." And with that, the hunter led the king to where the skull was. And the hunter started talking to the skull. "How are you today? You want to have a conversation like we did the other day? Please talk so the king can hear you. Hello? Hello?" No response from the skull. The hunter kept trying to get him to talk. No response from the skull. "Why aren't you saying anything? You talked to me before, please. You need to talk. The king wants to hear you talk." Well, that was the last straw for the king. He had wasted his time here, thinking he was going to see a talking skull. And he decided to take the hunter up on his swear. And with that, he pulled the long sword out and killed the hunter right there, leaving the hunter's head on the ground next to the skull. Well, a year went by, and another man came through. He wasn't a hunter, but he started walking down that trail, and he bumped into the two skulls right there on the trail in front of him. And of course, people don't find skulls on a trail. He was flabbergasted, and out of his mouth came, "How did you get on this trail?" And suddenly, the two skulls at the same time spoke up. "Talking, that's how we got here, talking. And if you don't keep your mouth shut, you'll end up here too." And with that, well, I'll let you decide what that man did. Have a good night, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.